Welcome to 30k channel with your host Connor and David.
Today we're playing some AI again. On to our second game. We'll be playing Mission 6, Bombing Mission.
Yeah, we wanted to introduce some different planes in this one. Instead of working through the mission sequentially, we thought we'd jump to number 6 and give you a bombing run with some Marauder bombers.
Yeah, just get some of the bigger planes involved. Otherwise we're going to be playing through several missions of just fighters.
Yep.
So it'll be Furies and Dakka jets back and forth. Thought we'd get something interesting in there. We're also bringing ground assets today. The Orks will be using a flat cannon.
Yeah, really excited to see how that flat cannon goes for. It's got an effective altitude of 4, which is huge.
Yeah, really big. The Imperial Navy, they're not going to be staying too far away, trying to get to those ground assets for victory points, but if they're trying to duck and dive, the cannon can still reach out.
Yeah, my plan will be to aim for those objectives really early on, score some points, and then hopefully circle back around with those bombers and start taking out the Dakka jets and the fighter bombers.
But enough for the preamble. I think let's move to the table. The Ork Waaagh consists of 3 identical unupgraded Dakka jets, all equipped with quad big shooters. They are joined by 2 identical fighter bombers, both equipped with quad big shooters, a turret big shooter, a tail gun, and a pair of rockets. And in defense of the ground assets, there is 1 heavy flat cannon.
Imperial Navy consists of 2 Thunderbolt Furies. They're fitted with Avenger Bolt cannons and twin las cannons. There are also 2 Marauder bombers, equipped with las cannons, dorsal turret, rear turret, and a bomb bay. They have each been upgraded to take a pair of Hellstrike missiles. Bombing mission turn 1, rolling for initiative.
Ooh, and that goes to the Orks. First activation for the Ork Waaagh is Dakka jet number 1, screaming forward across the table at speed 8 and altitude 1. Moving to cover the ground and try and engage the enemy fighters and bombers.
First activation for the Imperial Navy is Marauder Bomber number 3, advances forward at speed 4, altitude 1, lining the ground targets up for a strafing run.
Second activation for the Ork Waaagh, maintaining formation with Dakka jet number 1 is Dakka jet number 2, moving forward at speed 8, altitude 1, moving to close the gap between the Orks and the Imperial Navy.
No surprises here. Marauder Bomber number 4 performs the exact move as number 3, shoots forward 4 hexes at speed 4, maintaining altitude 1, hoping for a strafing run on the target.
Completing the wing of fighters, Dakka jet number 3 performing the same level flight maneuver at speed 8, altitude 1, putting some pressure on the enemy Marauder Bomber and Thunderbolt Fury.
Thunderbolt Fury number 1 executes a level flight at speed 3, altitude 2, finds itself in optimum range for its Avenger Bolt cannon, but then also dives to level 1, increasing its speed from 3 to 4.
Also moving to cover ground, Fighter Bomber number 5 moves forward at speed 7, altitude 2, looking to provide some covering fire for the center objectives. A bit of an amendment there, the Dakka jets traveling at speed 8 have only moved 7 hexes and will all move forward 1 additional tile.
The final activation for the Imperial Navy is Fury number 2, executing a level flight. It throttled up from speed 3 to 5, and at the end of its movement, dove to altitude 1 and increased its speed to 6, its maximum.
Final activation for the Ork Waaagh is Fighter Bomber number 4, performing a level flight maneuver at speed 7 and altitude 2, covering the distance to the center of the board. Bombing mission, turn 1 firing phase. Initiative still with the Orks. The first activation is Dakka jet number 3, firing its quad big shooters at medium range at Thunderbolt number 1, hitting on 5s. Oh, there's 1 hit. 5s to damage. Oh, and that is nothing.
Fury number 1 will fire at Dakka jet number 3 with its Avenger Bolt cannon at mid-range, optimal, both at the same altitude, requiring 5s to hit. And that is 3 hits to begin with. That's a really good start. 4s to cause damage, 6s are extra. Oh, and that is only 1 damage dealt to Dakka jet number 3. There's also a twin las cannon at mid-range, requiring 5s. That is a double hit, holy hell. And requires a 2+ to damage. Yes, and that Dakka jet has been shot from the sky.
Second activation for the Ork Waaagh, fighter bomber number 5, firing its quad big shooters at marauder bomber number 3. With 1 point of altitude difference, the quad big shooters will be hitting on 6s with 4 shots. Ooh, and that is 2 hits, 5s to damage. Ooh, and that is nothing from the Ork Waaagh again.
Marauder bomber number 3 will do a strafing run against one of the ground targets directly ahead of it. It will first fire its las cannon, 2 shots at mid-range, requiring 5s, being at altitude 1. That is 1 hit and requires a 2. Great, that is 1 point of damage dealt. The Marauder has also been equipped with Hellstrike missiles and will fire 2 of these. Oh, another hit, that's really good. And 3s to damage, 6s are extra. Oh no, that is nothing.
Next activation, Dakkajet number 1, also targeting the Marauder bomber, which has opened fire already, at medium range with 4 shots from its quad big shooters, hitting on 5s at the same altitude. Again, that's 2 hits. Looking for 5s to damage. Oh, and there is 1 point of damage caused.
Marauder bomber number 4 will do exactly as Marauder bomber number 3 did. Fire its 2 las cannon shots onto its ground target in a strafing run, 5s to hit. That is 1 hit. 2s to damage, 6s are extra. That is a 6, lovely. So 2 damage dealt out to the ground target. Again, firing its hell strikes, 5s to hit. Come on, that is 1 hit, lovely. And a 3 to damage with an extra on a 6, and that is another point of damage, leaving that ground asset with only 1 damage remaining.
Its only target available at medium range, Dakkajet number 2 opens fire with its quad big shooters into the enemy Thunderbolt Fury number 1. At medium range with 4 shots, hitting on 5s. Oh, again 2 hits, 5s to damage. And that is 1 point of damage caused. Final activation for the Imperial Navy. Fury number 2 will fire at the middle ground asset, requiring a 5 to hit, as it's at long range. Oh, and that is a fail. Final activation for the Ork Waaagh. With fighter bomber number 4 out of range or arc, with all of its medium range firepower, it does not shoot. However, the heavy flat cannon in the center of the board can draw a bead with 1 shot at long range against Marauder bomber number 3. And is hitting on a 5. Oh, and that is a hit. The heavy flat cannon damages on a 4 with extra damage on a 6. Oh, and that is 1 more point of damage caused. End of bombing mission, turn 1. The Ork Waaagh losing 1 aircraft in the first turn is an unfortunate beginning for the Orks. However, hopefully now they can close the gap and maintain short range on the Imperial Navy. Yeah, not a bad turn for the Imperial Navy. Stripping one of those ground assets down to 1 damage remaining was really good. Those Marauders are really closing in on those targets. Bombing mission, turn 2. After issuing ace maneuvers, rolling for initiative. Oh, 1 to 2 against the Orks. Yeah, the Imperial Navy will go first. Kicking off the movement phase, Marauder bomber number 3 executes a level flight at altitude 1, speed 4, and continues straight towards that objective. First activation for the Ork Waaagh, Dakkajet number 5 performing a stall turn, throttling down to speed 6 to get itself within short range of the Marauder bomber, unfortunately not managing to position itself in tailing fire position. Marauder bomber number 4 performs a level flight once again, getting closer and closer to its target, maintaining its speed of 4 and altitude of 1. Second activation for the Ork Waaagh, fighter bomber number 5 pulling off a turn maneuver, moving itself into position directly behind the enemy Marauder bomber, dethrottling from speed 7 down to 6, and then also diving from altitude 2 to 1, moving back up to speed 7. Thunderbolt Fury number 2 performs a level flight, throttling down from speed 6 to 4, maintaining its current altitude of 1. Not anticipating the fighter bomber there to get behind the Marauder, it put on the brakes and has brought the Dakkajet number 1 within range. Third activation for the Ork Waaagh, fighter bomber number 4 also pulling off a turn maneuver, managing to decelerate from speed 7 to 6, and then subsequently diving from altitude 2 to 1. The fighter bomber gets itself into a perfect tailing fire position on the enemy Thunderbolt, right next to the Marauder. Last activation for the Imperial Navy, Fury number 1 has got its eye on the prize in the form of the objective and has performed a level flight, increasing its speed from 4 to 5 and maintaining its altitude of 1. It will perform a strafing run on the already damaged ground asset. Final activation for the Ork Waaagh, Dakkajet number 2, performing a stall turn, Decelerating from speed 8 to speed 6 and maintaining altitude 1, the Dakajet gets itself into a perfect position to shoot the side of the enemy Thunderbolt. First activation for the Ork Waaagh, Dakajet number 2, opening up with its quad big shooters at short range into the tail of enemy Thunderbolt Fury number 1. 8 dice, hitting on 5s. Oh, that's a good spread off the bat for the Orks. 4 hits, needing 5s to damage. Oh, and that is 1 damage caused.
Fury number 1 there, narrowly escaping being shot out from the sky from that Dakajet. It will perform a strafing run with 3 shots from its Avenger Bolt cannon at the damaged target. Ground asset requiring 5s to hit. That is 1 hit, not too bad. 4 to damage, 6 for double. Lovely, and that is 2 damage dealt to that ground asset. It has 1 remaining.
Next activation for the Ork Waaagh, Dakajet number 1, firing its quad big shooters into the Marauder Bomber. Short range, hitting on 5s with 8 dice. Oh, that's only 2, not great. Needing 5s to damage. Well, there is 1 more point of damage caused.
Marauder Bomber number 3 will again combine its firepower, its dorsal turret and its rear turret, firing at Dakajet number 1, requiring 5s, being at the same altitude. 1 went out the dice tray. Oh, look at that, that's 2 hits, not too bad. And then 5s to damage. No, nothing.
Fighter Bomber number 4, the next to draw its sights on the enemy aircraft, firing its quad big shooters at short range into the tail of Thunderbolt number 2. 8 dice, hitting on 5s.
Oh, that's good.
Very strong start from Thunderbolt, or from the Dakajet. Very strong start from the Fighter Bomber. 5s to damage with 4 dice.
Oh.
That is, in 1 barrage, enough to bring down the Thunderbolt Fury. Also on the Fighter Bomber, the turret big shooters will fire at enemy Marauder number 4. 3 shots at short range. Oh, and that is 1 hit, damaging on a 5. Oh, and unfortunately that is nothing. With no more activations from the Imperial Navy, Fighter Bomber number 5 is next to fire, also unloading its quad big shooters into the tail of the Marauder Bomber number 4. 8 shots, hitting on 5s. Oh, stuck to the hand. That is another excellent round of shooting from the Orks. That is one missed shot, or lost dice, was not a hit. That is 4 hits, needing 5s to damage. Oh, that is 2 pips of damage caused. The Fighter Bomber is also equipped with a pair of wing-mounted rockets, firing 3 shots at short range, hitting on 5s. 1 cocked die. Oh, it was meant to be. Looking for 3s to damage with the rockets. Oh, and that is another 2 points of damage caused. The Orks, smelling blood, knowing that they have the Imperial Navy on the ropes, level the heavy flak cannon, medium range with 2 shots against the beleaguered Marauder Bomber, hitting on 5s. Oh, unfortunately, no hits landed.
Bombing mission, end of turn 2. A terrible turn for the Imperial Navy. So close to their objectives, the Thunderbolt Fury escorts are being shot down out of the sky from the Dakajets.
Yeah, the Orks have done a terrific job of positioning themselves close to and directly behind a lot of the Imperial Navy aircraft, avoiding a lot of incoming fire and some incredible outgoing fire from especially some of the fighter bombers. Fighter Bomber number 5 also finds itself in a position for tailing fire at the start of turn 3.
Bombing run, turn 3 initiative. Let's see who gets it for this turn. Oh, just
1 to 2 again.
Yep, the Imperial Navy will take initiative.
Bombing mission, turn 3 tailing fire. Fighter Bomber number 5, firing with its quad big shooters into the tail of enemy Marauder number 4. 8 shots, hitting on 5s. Oh, there's a few there. That's 3 hits, damaging on 5s. Oh, and that is just enough to bring down the Marauder Bomber.
Before the Marauder Bomber is shot from the sky, it does get an opportunity to fire back with its tail gunner. Again, hitting on 5s. Come on. Oh, I mean, that's a cocked dice by anyone's book. That's a double cocked. Oh, it wasn't meant to be. And will damage on a 5. Oh, not a bad riposte there.
With the damage on the objectives evenly splitting the victory points between the Orks and the Imperial Navy, the Fighter Bomber, having taken out one of the enemy Marauders, has taken a huge amount of pressure off the Ork fleet.
Bombing run, turn 3, movement phase, starting with the last remaining Marauder. It performs a level flight at speed 4, altitude 1, and will start to bomb the already damaged target.
Fighter bomber number 5, out for blood after bringing down one Marauder, performs a swoop maneuver at speed 6, altitude 1, having dethrottled once, bringing it into short range at the same altitude as the last remaining Marauder bomber.
Thunderbolt Theory number 1 performs a stoop maneuver, maintaining its speed of 5 and altitude 1, and lands up at mid-range to fighter bomber number 5.
Next to activate fighter bomber number 4, performing a swoop maneuver, throttles down from speed 7 to 6, and also races across the board to draw fire on the beleaguered Marauder bomber. Next up, Dakajet number 2 performing a swoop maneuver, also at speed 6, altitude 1, racing across the board, getting itself into a tailing fire position against the Marauder bomber. Last to activate, Dakajet number 1 performing a snap turn, moves across the board, draws a line of sight on the wounded Thunderbolt Fury number 1.
Bombing mission turn 3, starting with the Marauder bomber, which doesn't seem long for this world, but it has managed to get itself right over target and will push some bombs out the bomb bay door. 8 dice, requiring 4s because there's only 1 altitude difference, and that is a really good start with 5 hits. There is only 1 point of damage left on that structure, and it will damage on a 2+ with extra on a 5. Wowzers, look at that. So that's 2, 4, 6 damage dealt out, and that has destroyed one of those ground assets. Also, the Marauder bomber is able to fire at some of the planes behind it, and will focus its dorsal and its rear turret onto the Dakajet behind it, requiring 5s as being at the same altitude, altitude 1. It's only 1 hit, unfortunately, and 5 to cause damage. No, and that's nothing. What a shame.
First to activate for the Ork Air Waaagh is Dakajet number 1, looking to bring down the Thunderbolt Fury before it can fire. Firing at short range, there's 8 shots from its quad big shooters, hitting on 5s. Oh, that's not a brilliant roll, but there are 2 hits in there, and I'm looking for 5s to damage.
Oh,
all it needed to bring the last structure point off the Thunderbolt Fury. Next to fire, Dakajet number 2, also opening up with its quad big shooters into the tail of the Marauder bomber. 8 shots, hitting on 5s. Oh, there's only 1 hit there from the Dakajet. Still needing 5s to damage. Oh, and a 3 doesn't do it. Fighter bomber number 5 will also fire its quad big shooters into the Marauder bomber. 8 shots, hitting on 5s. A lot of 1s there. However, there's still a 6. Damaging on 5s. Oh, it's close again, but no damage there. Still no damage from the Orks yet. Fighter bomber number 4, next to add its weight of fire.
Oh.
And that is not a single hit. It is, however, equipped with the wing rockets. Will fire 3 shots, hitting on 5s.
Oh,
there,
come
those are the
on.
dice that have been hiding. Conveniently, these are damaging on 3s.
Oh!
That is 1 more point of damage caused. Alright, now, unbelievably, there is 1 structure point left on the Marauder bomber, and there are 2 shots left to make for the Orks. The heavy flat cannon at short range with 2 shots, hitting on 5s. Oh, that's 2 hits. Looking for 4s to damage, 6s are extra.
No!
Unbelievably, the 1 point of extra damage. Little excess, but that is enough to bring the Marauder bomber down.
Bombing mission, end of turn 3. Sadly, although the Marauder bomber made it over to the target and destroyed it, the rest of the fleet was taken out by the Ork Air Waaagh. However, they do score some victory points, but has been outmaneuvered by the Orks.
Yeah, especially from managing to survive through that first turn of medium-range firepower. The Ork fleet danced around the Imperial Navy, stayed in nice and close, right behind them, and managed to blow them all out of the sky.
Wow, what a turn of events. What a huge points difference.
Yeah, and what a massive swing that was. The first turn seemed to be going really well for the Imperial Navy, and then just from the beginning of turn 2, after the maneuvers, the game looked pretty much decided.
Connor did a fantastic job of getting those bombers, those fighter bombers and those Dakka jets tailing position and just outmaneuvering the kind of mission-focused Imperial Navy.
Yeah, it's always proof that, you know, winning or losing that initiative roll doesn't always result in a bad time going second. It becomes much easier to pick your targets, put your planes right where you want them.
Yeah, you know, and not having the flexibility in those furies of the previous mission, you know, those bombers were intent on their targets and there wasn't a lot of maneuvement in between.
Yeah, and then shout out MVP of the team, the flat cannon, bringing down that last Marauder bomb with its final shot of the game.
Oh, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better ending. It was just like take aim, ba-boof, and it just blew him out of the sky.
Yeah, and my first extra damage of the game.
It was. I tell you what, those last cannons are doing really well for him. The extra damage they're getting really helps rack up the points on those two damage.
And the Avengers.
Yeah.
They're very solid.
They are absolutely awesome. Well, I really enjoyed this game. I really hope you did too. I'm sure we're going to come up with something as equally as exciting in our next game.
Oh, we can only dream.
All right. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
See you later.